Hello there, and welcome to the Botanist Guild. What brings you here today? Interested in becoming a botanist, are you? Then you've come to the right place. At our guild, you can study under some of the finest botanists in all the realm. An enticing proposition, is it not? So, what say you? Would you like to add your name to our roll? Do you wish to join the Botanist Guild? Yes. Excellent. Now you're doubtless eager to dive headlong into the nearest shrubbery, but first a brief explanation on the origins of the Botanist Guild. Our guild boasts a long history. Its roots can be traced back some 500 years to when our nation was still in its infancy. It was around that time that a precursor organization to our own was established to facilitate communion with the elementals. But I expect you're already confused not being forestborn. Let me put it in a way that your kind would understand. The Twelveswood doesn't belong to man, but an almighty beings known as elementals. It is by their leave that we Gardenians dwell here in the forest, and it is by their leave that we receive of its bounty. Ever since mankind settled in the Twelveswood, it has been necessary for us to obtain the elementals' permission prior to taking aught from their domain. Historically, this was rather an involved process that only a precious few could actually commune with them. Specifically, those conjurers blessed with the ability to hear the elementals, aptly known as hearers. In order to relay the elemental's will to the botanists in a more timely manner, a new organization was formed with a hearer as its mouth and ears. This organization would eventually evolve to become the Botanists Guild. To this day, the guild employs the services of a hearer who offers guidance to our members. Yet this is no longer our organization's sole concern. We also seek to promulgate correct harvesting practices, that is, practices which honor the will of the elementals. And that, my friend, is the story of how our guild came to be. I trust you have a newfound appreciation for the work we do. Now, with all this talk of elementals and communing, perhaps you're wondering whether you're fit to join us. Well, you may cast such doubts aside. You don't need to have been raised as a good little forest-born boy to be a botanist, nor do you need to know the secret forest-born salute. I jest. You just need a healthy respect for nature and the will to learn. If you honestly believe you possess these things, it would be my pleasure to recommend you to our guildmaster. Please wait a moment while I see to the formalities. Speak to me again when you are ready to begin the enrollment procedures. Ready to enroll in the Botanist Guild, I take it. Way of the Botanist. Freaking... all is the names. Leonsilt, sure, wishes to reaffirm your desire to join the Botanist Guild. Music to my ears. It will be my pleasure to refer you to Guildmaster Fufucha. Our Guildmaster's knowledge of nature is second to none. One only needs witness her uncanny knack for spotting the finest timber to see that hers is a truly God's-given talent. It is for this reason that she holds the title of the first botanist. Oh, but you need not be overawed, for she is the kindest of souls. You'll find the guildmaster just outside this building. Seek her out and press upon her your desire to become a botanist.
I'm Fufucha, master of the guild, pleased to make your acquaintance. I take it that Leonsolt has given you an overview of the botany already. Well then, I suppose I'd better continue where he left off. As Gardenians may rightly claim to share a close relationship with nature, but none is so intimate as that of a botanist. It is our calling to nurture the natural environment to the mutual benefit of man and wood. But even as nature holds us in her loving embrace, providing for our every need, she is at heart an unsentimental creature, one that will take life just as readily as she gives it. Being a botanist means coming face to face with this uncomfortable truth on a regular basis. Knowing this, do you still wish to walk our path?
Walk the path of botanist? Sure.
The look in your eye bespeaks the passion in your heart. Very well, I bid you welcome to the Botanist Guild. To help you on your way, I present to you with this hatchet. Take it up and then present yourself to me again. I would assign you your first task as a botanist of the guild.
My first hatchet. Fufucha wishes to assign you your first task as a botanist.
I see you have your hatchet on you. Very good. Botanist's hatchet is his livelihood. Never forget this. If you fail to keep its blade clean and keen, your efforts will yield you naught but sweat and splinters. But let us see about your first task. Ah yes, to help you grasp the basics of botany, I would have you gather 10 pots worth of latex. The forest yields to us many and more resources. It is the botanist's job to know what can be found and where. If it is latex you require, you do well to search just outside the Blue Badger Gate or the Yellow Serpent Gate. Seek out the mature trees that stand in those areas, and then put your hatchet to use. I wish you well.
Botanists can use hatchets and other cutting tools to log the forests of Eorzea and gather materials used in crafting. Trees that are primed for logging are known as mature trees. To locate mature trees, make your way out of the city and then use the botanist action known as triangulate. No.
How goes the gathering effort? Lest you forget, latex can be had just outside the Blue Badger Gate and the Yellow Serpent Gate.
Latex, the milky sap of a mature tree.
Ah yes, precisely 10 pots of latex, just as I instructed. You have done well. Latex is easy to find and equally easy to harvest. As such, collecting the stuff is an ideal task for young botanists who are learning their way around a hatchet. Yet know that being able to swing said tool does not make you a botanist. You must also possess the knowledge to locate the resources you seek. That will be all from me at the present. I urge you to keep honing your senses and skills as a botanist. Gather near and far, and learn from your experiences. I look forward to seeing you again when you have become better acquainted with our trade. Till then, I bid you happy gathering.
Sap for smiles. Fufucha wants to assign you a new task.
Hello again, Raid. I'm told you've been putting your hatchet to good use. Well done. Yet, as I mentioned before, hacking away at trees does not make you a botanist. You must also strive to deepen your understanding of nature. I say this in knowledge that you have done just that. Whether you realize it or not, you have the air of a man who is at ease with the world around him. I do believe you are ready for your next task. I would like you to go to Tree Speak, and there harvest 10 pots worth of maple sap. Once you have enough, pray deliver the sap to Cecily. She will be pleased to receive it. Off you go now, Raid.
Wait, whoops. Oh, she's on the dirt.
On a quest for maple sap? Then your best bet is to search the vicinity of Tree Speak. I happen to be waiting for a delivery of sap myself. Might you be the botanist tasked with supplying it?
Maple sap, an odorless and colorless liquid, is extracted from maple trees. It can be boiled down to make sweet maple sugar.
Ah, the maple sap I requested. Then you must be the new botanist Fufucha has been fussing over. Ah, but where are my manners? Thank you. Why do I need so much of the stuff? Well, allow me to explain. It's the very least I can do after all you've done. Boiling maple sap causes it to thicken into a sweet syrup called, you've guessed it, maple syrup. From maple syrup we can make maple sugar, an ingredient used in various recipes, particularly confectionery, from cakes to tarts to toffees and chocolates. In short, all the things that children love. You've probably guessed it by now, but the maple sap you have harvested will be used to make sweets for the children, those poor souls who were orphaned by the calamity. They may put on a brave face, but their eyes reveal the depths of their sorrow, the precious little joy in their lives. But Gridania won't abandon them. No matter your walk of life, there is always something you can do to help. Though it may only last a fleeting moment, a single smile of theirs is worth all the effort. My apologies. I got carried away. Now, where was I? Ah, yes. In addition to maple sap, we botanists gather various other kinds of foodstuffs. As such, we work quite closely with culinarians, those disciples of the hand that excel at cooking. We're also on good terms with woodworkers and weavers, as both are reliant upon us to supply the lumber and fiber they need for their respective crafts. As botanists, it behooves us to learn what manner of materials are used in crafting, and there's no better way to do that than firsthand. If you have an interest, you might consider dabbling in one of the disciplines out there. I also urge you to make a habit of reviewing the gathering log. As your knowledge in botany grows, the more of its contents will become comprehensible to you. Well, I best see to the maple sap. It was lovely talking to you.
Weapons of a Feather. Fufu-chan needs you to help fulfill a large order.
Raid, you could have come at a more opportune time. I have a favor to ask of you. We have just received an urgent request from the Order of the Twin Adder. They ask that we supply them with 10 crow feathers as soon as possible. Crows often leave behind feathers where they perch, which can be used to make arms and armor. Requests for the items have been coming with increasing regularity. The situation must be grim indeed. It would not do to keep the defenders of our nation waiting. I would be most glad if you could help us fulfill this order. Crow feathers can be found in abundance in the area south of Gilbert Spire. Once you have procured 10, promptly deliver them to Cecily. I have given her charge over our stores. Many thanks in advance. You're helping us out again? Why, thanks, friend. In case you've forgotten, the crow feathers can be found in areas south of Gilbert Spire.
Crow feather, the glossy black tail feather of a crow.
Ah, the crow feathers. You have my thanks. Doubtless you already know this from Fufu-cha, but it's the Order of the Twin Adder that requested the feathers. If I heard it true, they're in the midst of prepping for war against the Ixal. The crow feathers are needed to make arms and armor, feathered harpoons, plumed crooks, and the like. It's a fine feeling, being able to do our part to aid those men and women who defend our nation. But no need for such a large to need such a large stockpile of feathers. It gives me pause to imagine the bloodshed that lies ahead. Will the Twelswood ever know true peace? Oh, but there I go again with my wistful ramblings. Feel free to ignore me. Now, before I forget, Fufu-cha asked me to give you something on her behalf, a scythe. The scythe is what we call a secondary tool. Used in your offhand, it allows you to harvest from lush vegetation in addition to the mature trees you already know so well. That Fufu-cha has seen fit to make you this gift is proof positive of your progress. You're no longer a novice, my friend. I dare say you're ready to try your hand at fieldcraft levs, perhaps even take on grand company work. But first, I recommend you head off in the wood and find some lush vegetation to try that new scythe on. Off you go now, and come back when you're ready to take on another task for the guild.
Haste makes waste. Fufu-cha is troubled and needs you to help solve a problem.
Ah, my dear Raid, you're looking ever more a botanist. I do believe you're ready to take on further responsibilities for the guild. Guilds such as ours exist only by virtue of the cooperation of their members. Each individual must set an example for the rest of the collective is to thrive. The time has come for you to set just such an example. A matter has arisen that the handling of which I entrust wholly to you. You may deal with it as you see fit, providing you see the problem solved. The matter in question concerns a valued client of ours, the merchant Albgast. It would appear one of our number has done something to upset him. Pray seek out the merchant at the Ebony Stalls and inquire after the reason for his ire. Oh, and choose your words well, lest you add fuel to the fire.
Fufucha said you, did she? Good. I'm not a man to mince words, so forgive if I seem blunt. You know what marjoram is? But of course you do. You're a bleeding botanist. It's a very common ingredient in alchemy, isn't it? Very, very common. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't you botanists supposed to be the experts in harvesting such stuff? Yes, you are. Strange then, that the expert who brought me my last best batch of fresh marjoram didn't so much harvest the poor plants as dismember them. Why, the leaves were so torn up I couldn't recognize what they were at first. Needless to say, they're next to useless. So, thanks to your herb-hacking colleague, I have no marjoram to make my concoctions, which is why I inquired at your guild, only to be told you were out of supplies. And here we are. Now, if it ain't too much trouble, I would be obliged if you could bring me 10 sprigs of fresh marjoram. And I'd please like them whole, as opposed to the fine bleeding puree your bush-butchering colleague delivered. Truth be told, I don't care about your hatchet-happy friend. What I do care about is not keeping my customers waiting for their medicine. In short, hurry. Oh, and for the love of gods, be gentle with the plants, will you? I shouldn't have to say it, but after the last bloke, I'm not taking any chances. Did you get the marjoram? The herb is said to grow around the matron's leth. Though I hardly need to tell a botanist this. Do hurry, I'm keeping a dozen customers waiting.
Marjoram, a sweet-smelling herb used in cooking and in medicines.
Ah, the marjoram, and such fine specimens. I'm sorry I gave you such a hard time, friend. Thanks to you, I can get back to making echo drops. Do you know of echo drops? They're an alchemical concoction that restores voice to silenced lips, allowing the imbler to cast spells again. Conjurers and thaumaturges never leave home without a bottle of 3. But I must say again, these are some of the finest specimens of marjoram I've seen, and they're none the worse for the picking. It's clear you know your way around the plants. As for your colleague with the heavy hand, I'm certain your guild will deal with them appropriately. Thanks again, and send my regards to Fufucha.
Ah, there you are. Thanks for a job well done. There's no need to report the details. I've already heard all I need to know. It is my belief that the botanists in question had naught but personal gain in mind when they so hurriedly harvested the marjoram. In his haste to complete the task and claim its reward, he damaged the herbs and rendered them useless. Such greed brings shame upon our guild, and I will not tolerate it. The offender's name shall be struck from our roll. As I taught you when you first came to us, a botanist nurtures the natural environment to the mutual benefit of man and wood. He who thinks only of his own benefit has no respect for nature and is unfit to call himself one of us. Of course, you hardly need reminding of this. Something tells me you shall never give me cause to worry. But let us speak of cheerier matters. Tell me, did gathering the marjoram pose you any trouble? If you ever find your work unduly onerous, you might consider outfitting yourself with better gear. Even something as seemingly insignificant as a new pair of boots can make a world of difference. As you gain knowledge and experience, you will find yourself venturing farther afield in search of new bounty, and your choice of equipment will become ever more critical. Go now, Raid, and keep up your efforts. I look forward to seeing you continue to grow as a botanist.
Dressed to harvest, Fufucha appears to be concerned with your appearance.
Good morning, Raid. I see from the soil on your hands that you have been as diligent as ever in your botany. I am not surprised. As we develop new skills, so do our labors become more varied, and thus does our motivation grow. Yet know that motivation can only take one so far. If you wish to master botany, you must pay heed to those details which you have until now taken for granted. In particular, I speak of gear, the tools of our trade. Not all tools are created equal, you see, and if you are to work with any degree of efficiency, you must use such gear as befits your ability. Lest you misunderstand, I'm not telling you to go and replace your gear. There is a more frugal way to improve your tools, and one more respectful to nature besides. Tell me, have you heard of materia? It is a kind of crystal that can be used to enhance the efficacy of our gear. In the past, the enhancement process required certain catalysts found throughout nature, the gathering of which was our domain, but new methods have rendered them obsolete. Be that as it may, these substances still make for ideal subjects of training for budding botanists such as yourself. Therefore, for your next task, I would like you to gather a quantity of one such catalyst, namely grade 1 carbonized matter. 15 fragments should suffice. A thorough search of the area surrounding Aleport will surely prove fruitful. The hamlet lies in western La Nocia, upon the island of Vildebrand. Once you have gathered the requisite amount, pray present the carbonized matter to Sandre. He will teach you the basics of materia.
Fufucha sent you to learn about materia, you say? Very well, bring me 15 fragments of grade 1 carbonized matter and we'll talk.
Grade 1 carbonized matter, naturally occurring coal infused with dark matter.
Seems Fufucha has high hopes for you. Very well, let us speak of materia. The art of crafting with materia is yet new to Eorzea. It was born to our shores by a goblin scholar named Mutamix some few years ago. Put simply, the process begins with extracting materia from old gear. This is then attached to another piece of gear, enhancing the item's properties. Mind you, it's not as if any half-wit can do the attaching. No, it takes a skilled craftsman and the necessary knowledge and experience. And once, the process also required substances known as catalysts. The carbonized matter you've gathered is one such substance. But they discovered a way to attach material without the stuff, and we botanists are a little more idle for it. Such is the way of progress. That, my friend, is materia in brief. Now, I'd thank you not to ask me about the workings of it. That sort of scholarly stuff is beyond my fathoming. If you wish to know more, perhaps even try your hand at crafting with materia, I suggest you seek out the goblin Mutamix. It's said he has his camp at a place called the Bonfire, out in the wilds of central Thanalan. Oh, keep in mind that materia comes in a great many varieties, each granting unique benefits to its gear it's attached to. I dare say you'll lose count of all the kinds you'll come across in your ventures. If I were you, I'd try to find a craftsman who would be willing to attach materia for me. Chances are there's such a person among your lists of acquaintances.
Aromatic aspirations. Fufucha has a mind to assign you a large order.
As Gridania continues to make headway along the road to recovery, ever more outsiders shall flock to her gates. They come here in hopes of trading, and Gridania must welcome them if she is to forge stronger bonds with her neighbors and prosper. Make no mistake, Raid, busy times lie ahead. Verily, we have just now received an order of no fewer than 2,000 fine quality sprigs of chamomile from the quicksand in Olda, so run along and harvest them, would you? I jest, of course. A task of this scale will require more than 2 hands. If you would be so good to procure, say, 15 sprigs, I would consider it an appropriate contribution. Chamomile is well known for its fragrant aroma and soothing properties. There is satisfaction to be had in ensuring that folk from every corner of the realm can sample the delights of this great staple. Do you not agree? The herb is abundant in Upper Low Nicaea, around Oakwood to be precise. Once you have harvested 15 sprigs, pray deliver them to Sandre. For Fufu-cha has you harvesting chamomile as well, does she? Return here when you have 15 sprigs, and I'll add them to the pile. While you harvest, I shall ponder how the 7 hells I'm supposed to ship them all. Chamomile, a fragrant yellow flower found growing throughout Vilbrand. 13, 14, 15. Aye, precisely 15 sprigs of chamomile. My thanks, friend. Ah, that distinct aroma. There's nothing like chamomile tea to calm the nerves. It's the perfect way to end a day, I reckon. Now all I have to do is wait for your fellow harvesters to bring me the rest, pack the lot, and drag it all to the airship landing. I expect we'll have earned a cup or two of tea when that's done, though I rather suspect it will be the very last thing I fancy. I don't know what Fufu-cha mentioned, but this batch is bound for Ul'dah. It would seem the lords and ladies there have developed a taste for chamomile tea. Developed a taste, I said, but like as not they drink it just to impress their neighbors. Wouldn't surprise me one bit if each cup was served on a golden saucer. But there again I go again, spouting my old prejudices. It's a bad Gridanian habit, I know. Sooner or later, I'll have to get rid of it. Don't want a visiting Ul'dah to splash hot tea in my face now, do I? What nature giveth. Fufu-cha appears to be in some distress.
I fear we have a situation on our hands, Raid. The guild's crop of alligator pears have been ravaged by vermin, and scarcely a day before the fruit was due to be picked. It is disheartening to see our labors come to naught, but such is the way of nature. Alas, our woes do not end there. A fine example of ill timing. No sooner had the disaster come to light than we received an unusually large order for, yes, alligator pears from the Caroline canopy. Yet all hope is not lost, for the fruit also grows in the wild. We need but find enough to fulfill the order, 15 to be precise. Our man Soliu is charged with keeping track of such produce as may be harvested in Twelswood. He spends most of his days around Bent Branch Meadows this time of year. If there are alligator pears out there, he'll know where to find them. Pray seek him out, Raid, and do as he directs.
Looking for alligator pears? Aye, I've heard the unfortunate tidings, yet all we can do is take it on the chin and cope as best we can. I recommend you search northeast of Quarry Mill. Wild alligator pears grow there, and we're doing well last I passed through. Barring pests, they should be ripe for picking right about now. Oh, and just so you know, the place you're going is no different from any other untamed corner of Twelswood, by which I mean it's full of nasties. Botanists like myself avoid the area if we can help it, but it should be as a walk through the flower garden for an adventurer like you. Now, you'd best be on your way. Those alligator pears aren't going to pick themselves.
I trust you now know where the alligator pears are found in nature. Please hurry, Raid. It would not do to keep our client waiting.
Alligator pear, a soft green fruit also known as shroud butter. Though not thought to be indigenous to Eorzea, it is not certain how the plant first came to the realm. 15 alligator pairs in just the nick of time. You have spared us Mayroon's wrath. Lest you misunderstand, Mayroon is a reasonable woman, ordinarily. It's just that much rests upon the fruit's availability. Alligator pears are to form the centerpiece of a new dish of hers, you see. A hearty salad which she has been promoting feverishly to adventures far and wide. Mayroon would not have been pleased had her plans gone awry, but owing to your efforts, she can keep her promise, and we are good reputation. My profoundest thanks, Raid. I trust you have learned a valuable lesson from this episode. Namely, we must not take nature's bounty for granted. As I taught you when you first came to us, nature is an unsentimental creature. She may provide for our every need today, only to take it all away on the morrow. Those who would walk the path of botany must come to terms with this fact, and the sooner the better, for should your labors prove fruitless, and they frequently shall, no amount of brooding will avail you. At such times one must remember that for all her seeming cruelty, nature is not our enemy. She simply is. If you would become intimate with her and partake of her bounty, you must learn to accept her unconditionally.
A feast to say the least. Fufucha is in need of an adventurous helping hand.
Ah, Raid, you couldn't have come at a better time. A dear old friend of mine has found herself in a predicament and in dire need of a botanist's aid. Normally I would not trouble you with requests of such a personal nature. This task, however, should serve you nicely in your training. A contingent of the God's Quiver has just returned victorious from a hard-fought battle with the Ixal, and my culinarian friend Yanni has been tasked with overseeing a feast befitting the occasion. Unfortunately, she is suffering an untimely shortage of a key ingredient. I would ask you to harvest 20 laurel leaves, which can be found amidst the lush vegetation to the northeast of Little Alamigo in southern Thanalan, and bring them to me for inspection. I would ask you to harvest 20 laurel leaves, which can be found amidst the lush vegetation to the northeast of Little Alamigo in southern Thanalan, and bring them to me for inspection.
Laurel, a savory spice made from the dried leaves of the laurel bush, or as it's known by some, the Yanni bush.
Let me see here. 19, 20. And nary a withered leaf among the lot. Yanni will be pleased as peas. Speaking of which, Ray, do you know why laurel is so prized by culinarians across the realm? Not only does it boast a most pleasing aroma, deep yet not overpowering, the perfect accent to a savory stew or seasoning for a steak, but it's also known to stimulate the appetite. The brave men and women of the God's Quiver feast now, but it is only a matter of time before they are summoned back to the field of battle. Deliver the laurel to Yanni, that she might prepare a feast that will warm their hearts as well as sate their stomachs.
Where am I going? Oh, just over here.
Greetings, friend. Are you perchance the botanist to whom Fufucha entrusted my order for laurel? Well, I can see why Fufucha is always singing your praises. These will be among the crispest, most aromatic laurel leaves ever to grace my spice rack. Ixal raiding parties grow more relentless with each passing day. I fear that the day will soon come where we can no longer afford to feast our men as heartily as we do today. Still, Verdani's finest require subsistence as much as they need their lances and bows. I am but a simple culinarian, but I would do what I can to support my countrymen, yet there's only so much I can accomplish on my own. In any event, I am grateful for your aid. Pass along my thanks for Fufucha, and let her know that I shall be calling upon your services again. I hear Yanni was overjoyed by your delivery. Thanks to you, she'll be able to prepare a feast befitting the triumphant occasion. And yet, truth be told, I take no pleasure in martial victories. Every day we continue to water the soil with blood, I fear that we lose something of what we once were. There was a time when Guardian and Exo alike lived in harmony with nature and with each other. Is there no other way to resolve our differences than with lance and arrow? Forgive me, Raid. I do not mean to burden you with my troubles.
Crisis of Faith. Fufucha wears a pensive mien.
Oh, good morning, Raid. Forgive me if I seem a bit pensive. You must know, the thought that our harvests are contributing to the war effort has been weighing heavily on my heart. What I truly wish is to be an agent of peace. But what can a humble botanist do? In the meanwhile, another order has come in from Yanni, this time for zucchini in large quantities. No, I'm afraid our homegrown harvest simply will not suffice. Fortunately, they are said to grow wild and in abundance in the La Nocia region. I would ask you to travel to eastern La Nocia and harvest 20 of the finest zucchini you can find from the area south of Raincatcher Gully. When you are through, bring them here to me. I would ask you to travel eastern La Nocia and harvest 20 of the finest zucchini you can find from the area south of Raincatcher Gully. When you are through, bring them here to me.
Ramhorn zucchini. This long, thin variety of squash earns its name from its resemblance to the horn of a mountain ram.
What resplendent zucchini! I had no idea that such succulent specimens could be found in the wild. Truly a testament to the splendor of nature, is it not? The zucchini plant is quite sensitive to humidity. One would never see them grow so large and luscious here in the Twellswood. Furthermore, they are quick to ripen and quicker to rot, meaning that timing is of the essence. And yet a perfectly ripe zucchini is truly a thing of beauty. Sweet enough to be savored raw, its skin retains a pleasantly firm texture, even when stewed. I suppose Yanni means to prepare a wholesome and hearty feast for our soldiers. I know I should take pride in serving our nation this way, but I've troubled you enough. Take your harvest to Yanni with my blessing.
Oh, she's over here now.
Fufucha assured me my 20 zucchini were on the way. Might you be the one who took the order? Why, what remarkable zucchini! I've not seen the likes of these in quite some time. At the risk of sounding boastful, I dare say that my next batch of ratatouille is shaping up to be the tastiest Gridania has ever seen. Ratatouille is a dish that holds a special place in my heart. It was the first recipe I learned, you see, taught to me by none other than Fufucha's own mother. My father was a traveling merchant, and our family moved often when I was young. I had few friends until we moved here to Gridania, where I befriended Fufucha. Hours would I spend by her side as she rooted through her garden. After sunset, we would go inside, where her mother would whip us ratatouille, that truly warmed both body and soul. Ah, to relive those days. Wait a minute, I have an idea. This is the ratatouille that inspired me to pursue the culinarian's path from such a young age. Do take a bowl to Fufucha. It seems she could use something to pick up her spirits these days. Thank you for delivering the zucchini to Yanni. I suppose she is already slaving over a hot stove preparing a stew that'll give our warriors the stamina to fight another... What's that? Yanni has something for me.
Yanni. Not Yanni. Special ratatouille. Just like Fufucha's old ma used to make.
Why, this is my mother's ratatouille. I always knew that Yanni loved this recipe, but I had no idea she had learned to reproduce it to such succulent perfection. Ah, this brings me back to the old days. Yes, things were so much simpler then. Now the ratatouille that once warmed our hearts after hours spent frolicking in the garden turns to light a fire in the bellies of those who march off to war. Will things never again be as they were?
Botanists in a bind. Recent developments have Fufucha feeling increasingly unsure of herself.
Raid, I trust you, not only as a botanist, but as one who shares my dream of bringing peace to the forest that shelters us. The Order of the Twin Adder has commissioned from us mistletoe in staggering quantities. You'll need to search the vicinity of Camp Dragonhead in the central highlands of Quarthus. The curative properties of mistletoe make it a vital ingredient in many salves and medicines. I cannot help but fear our guild has once more been drawn into serving this fruitless war effort. Forgive me for being a hopeless idealist, Raid. Could you visit the Adder's Nest and inquire with Lieutenant Gavin as to the nature of his request? I will not refuse his order, you may assure him of that. I simply wish to know.
So Fufucha wishes to know how the mistletoe will be used before she fills the order. 'Tis a fair enough request. No intent to deceive her, nor you. The mistletoe will be used to prepare medicines for the battles ahead. It is as simple as that. This will not please a pacifist like Fufucha, I know. But what can be done? Does she think that we enjoy bloodshed any more than she? Were there a way to bring peace back to the forest, I would be the first to welcome it. In the meantime, the Ix will continue to attack our people, and we do what we can to protect them. A single soldier such as myself has no more power to end this war than does a botanist. In any event, I must return to my duties. If you could harvest 20 sprigs of mistletoe and tell Fufucha that our courier will be along to receive them, the order would be in your debt.
Welcome back, Raid. So it is as I feared. Do not worry, I will take the 20 sprigs of mistletoe.
Mistletoe, a poisonous parasitic plant which survives by attaching itself to other larger plants, is often gathered and put on display during regional winter festivals.
Thank you. You have served the guild well once more, and so the unending cycle of bloodshed goes on. Needless to say, by no fault of your own. I bear no ill will to Lieutenant Gavin or his people. On the contrary, I have naught but respect for his candor, not to mention his service to my homeland. What weighs heavy on my heart is a sentiment far more simple, almost childish. I simply cannot bear to see this forest I love suffer any longer. War is inevitable, this I understand, but by aiding the war effort, we do not merely contribute to the suffering, we profit from it. No better than the parasitic mistletoe, we suck the life out of the trees that shelter us for our own personal gain. A parasite. Is that what our once proud guild has been reduced to? How can I in good conscience permit this to go on? Forgive me, Raid. I would be alone with my thoughts for a while.
Seeds of Hope. Fufucha of the Botanist Guild has reached a most difficult decision.
Forgive me if I seemed a bit distant the last time we spoke, Raid. Allow me to get straight to the point. I have not come to this decision easily, but I have come to it all the same. As of today, I have resigned from the Botanist Guild. Our battle with the Ixal rages on, and there are rumblings from the Empire as well. With each passing day, more people die, the soil is stained deeper with blood, and the Twellswood weeps. Meanwhile, I fill orders for the war effort. And for what purpose? That more Ixal may suffer and die than Gridanians? No. If this is what it means to be a botanist this day and age, I want no more part of it. Yanni, may Navika bless her dear heart, tried her best to convince me to stay. Still, I fear my heart is settled. Mind you, the decision is mine alone. I would pass no judgment on those who find meaning in their efforts here. Should you wish to continue to serve the guild, I'm sure Yanni will have suitable tasks for you. Farewell, Raid, and may the Twellswood ever shelter you. Oh, Raid, I'm glad you're here. You spoke to Fufucha, yes? It absolutely breaks my heart to see what's become of my old friend. Fufucha and I have known each other since we were both knee-high to a fungar, and I assure you, her knowledge of and passion for the flora of this realm is second to none. Skilled would be absolutely lost without her guidance. Of course, I understand her worries. These are not easy times for a true seeker of peace and friend to nature, and yet I cannot help but to feel that her emotions cloud her better judgment, that she's not seeing the forest for the trees, if you will. Fufucha has convinced herself that she is doing more harm than good to the natural world she so loves. Preposterous! Has she forgotten the countless trees she planted after the calamity, journeying far and wide to return lush verdure to our shattered realm? Someone must remind her of all she has accomplished, and the work that is still left to be done. To that end, I have made contact with one of Fufucha's former apprentices, a botanist by the name of, Right loin? Okay. Right loin. Who now tends a forest that Fufucha herself led to the planting of many years ago. My words as a friend will not reach Fufucha now. Only a fellow botanist who understands the depths of her worries can heal the wounds in her heart. I beg of you, Raid, speak to this Raitloin and seek his counsel. Raitloin tends the forest surrounding the Timberlord's Lodge in the central highlands of Korthus. Please go quickly. Once Fufucha leaves our guild behind, I fear she will never return.
Well met, Raid. Yanni told me to expect you. I'm Roitloin, a humble botanist plying his trade in these bleak lands. Botany is not simply my livelihood. I consider it my true calling. A calling I would never have discovered were it not for Fufucha's guidance. Needless to say, I was devastated to hear the news. All hope is not lost, however, as I have hit upon an idea. Tell me, Raid, are you familiar with the spruce tree? I do not blame you if you are not, as it is a rare sight these days. As Fufucha would tell it, in the years before the calamity, vast forests of spruce would stretch for momes and momes. What spruce trees you see today are the result of Fufucha's efforts to bring the flora of ages back to Eorzea. Perhaps seeing that her work has borne fruit will convince her not to abandon her life as a botanist. Knowing Fufucha as I do, the gesture would mean the most to her if the spruce were harvested by the hand of an apprentice close to her heart. Your hand, Raid. Before you set off, be forewarned. Spruce is still rare to these parts, and not easily discerned. Only one with the knowledge of the truthful forest could hope to identify such trees, and then only after straining the eyes from the break of dawn. If your eyes are true, friend, you will come upon mature trees unlike any you have ever seen before. Harvest from these 3 spruce logs and bring them back to me. Should you have difficulty locating the spruce trees, remember, only one with knowledge of the truth of forest can see them, and only after waiting from dawn till sundown. If your eyes are true, friend, you will come upon mature trees unlike you have ever seen before. Did you follow all that, Raid? Very well. Gather 3 spruce logs and bring them back here to me. Spruce log, a rough-cut log of spruce lumber. Remarkable gathering, Raid. I see that Fufucha has trained you well. I had a mind to deliver them to Fufucha straight away, but I just received some troubling news. You have heard that we are here in Korthus are locked in a war with the dragons, have you not? A recent dragon raid have left many soldiers and settlers without shelter. A carpenter in the area is doing all he can to construct new lodgings, but lumber is painfully short supply. I share your concern for Fufucha, but I am sure you agree that our first priority as botanists is to help those in need. Why, Fufucha herself taught me as much. Please, Raid, seek out the carpenter and deliver to him some spruce logs that the people of Korthus need suffer without a roof over their heads for no longer.
Yes, on the off chance that you're either blind or stupid, I'm a busy man. Busy doing what you say? Searching for lumber, that's what. We've no end of houses that need rebuilt after being smashed to bits by those damn dragons. Or haven't you noticed that there's a war going on here? Look, I don't mean to be rude, but I've no time to chit-chat. Take a look around. These ain't hospitable lands. Without shelter, people will die. Damn it all! Is there not a single sturdy left in all the highlands? Why, I've never seen wood like this. Where the name of the 12 did you find this? To think lumber of this quality could be found in these lands. Why, I'll not forget this kindness, friend. Those trees will save lives.
Those trees will save lives?
You bet they will, little missy. Speaking of which, whom do I have the pleasure of addressing?
My name matters not. I'm just a humble botanist, and nothing more. I'd bid you speak to my colleague Reutloin at the Timberlord's Lodge. He'll see that you never want for lumber.
I don't know who you are, miss, but I'm glad we met. The gods are truly watching over us this day.
Shall we go for a walk, Raid? Yanni suggested I travel to Korthus. I had not the slightest idea what she had in mind. The moment I laid eyes on this forest, I remembered. This was your intent, was it not, Raid? You, Yanni, and Reutlein? Your gentle concern for my faltering heart is not lost on me, nor is the meaning of this forest. The trees themselves speak volumes. The seeds, the art of botany, the love and reverence for nature that we brought to Ishgard have taken root in these lands and the hearts of the people and grown strong. Strong indeed. As strong as the majestic spruces that once more graced these snow-swept highlands. The spruces that will now provide shelter and comfort to those who have been ravaged by war. Like the Twelveswood, this forest has suffered greatly in these times of strife, and yet this forest has strength. A strength it has harbored since time immemorial, and one it shares with us. A strength that goes beyond logs we harvest or herbs we gather. I must never forget the lessons I have learned here today. On the contrary, I must share what I have discovered here, that hope might take root again in the hearts of our countrymen. Let us return to Gridania, Raid. The Twelveswood is calling us home. Do you hear, Raid? Please whisper to us, welcoming us home. To think that I almost turned my back on them forever. The battle rages on, and the forest will not go unscathed. Gridanian and Ixal hack away at innocent branches and uproot flowers and shrubs for their own self-seeking causes. The sadness, the powerlessness is at times too great to bear, and yet, if I were to walk away, who would tend to the wounded forest in my stead? There is only so much that a lone botanist can accomplish, and yet every seed that is planted, every tree that takes root brings us one step closer to a future where we live in harmony with the forest. In my pain and frustration, my eyes have been blinded to this truth. Thanks to you, Yanni and Reutloin, I see again. Rest easy, Raid. I will remain here at the Growery. How can I not? The forest needs every friend it can muster in these dark times, and it would seem that I still have much to learn. I would be honored to continue to walk the path of the botanist with you, not as guildmaster and apprentice, but as peers, fellow shepherds of the forest. Be you ever safe in your travels.